Mr. Kalani?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Cool, man. I'm glad I got that right. I was always get a little bit nervous about doing the last names of, but I got it right, man. Luke Kalani.
Yeah,
Got him on board
I'm here.
for the main voyage of in the new studio of fucking real.
It looks epic.
Yeah, cool, man.
I love it.
And it's a pleasure to have you here finally, man. I know that we were meant to have it last week, but the preparations took a little bit longer and
Yeah,
getting us to here, but here we are, man.
all divine timing.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I feel that with divine timing, man, that actually the ceremony I've done with you. Okay, well, first of all, I'll introduce you, man. So Luke Kalani, look, man, like the what I've got from you is that you do sound healing, breath work, meditation, cacao.
Yeah,
Now that's what I want to know most about.
Sure.
Out of this podcast, man, and only because when I first went to one of your events, your ceremonies, I didn't know what I was into, man. I've never heard of cacao,
yeah,
and then I saw this cup of cacao next to me, and then and then I heard it was a medicine, and I've done ayahuasca and
Yeah.
things like that before as well. So I had all sorts of things going through my head, like where am I, man? Like, what am I in for here?
Sure, yeah.
And I'd done a little bit of research after it, but yeah, man, I just I don't know if we want to sort of kick right into that and
absolutely.
learn a little bit more about that, and yeah,
Sure. Well, a lot like yourself, I started my plant medicine journey around 16 years ago, and cacao has been almost the accumulation of all of those ceremonies for me to be able to actually work with a medicine that is worldwide accessible to anybody of most, apart from most health people, like whatever it is that you are into, you are able to drink cacao. And it's a very accessible medicine to so many people. I remember going to my first cacao ceremony, and it was with sound as well. And it was my first experience of sound healing, and I'd never experienced sound quite like that with the cacao before. And it was just such a heart-opening experience. I feel like it almost brought me to tears the first time I did it. And it just sparked my interest. I wanted to learn more about it, and I just started going down that road. And
Does
here we
it
are.
generally go hand in hand with sound healing ceremonies, or is it something like I've also seen it at some farmer markets a
Yeah.
few weeks back, and they were selling it out of a van like sort of coffee, I guess.
sure.
Is it sort of something because I mean the way I sort of saw it at the ceremony with your event that I went to, it was sort of taken with an intention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, in my opinion, it could be water. It's getting people into a space and into that mindset of putting their own heart into something with respect and with reverence. And it's good that this has history and it has culture behind it, because then you can connect to the heart of that medicine. For me, cacao represents the blood of the earth. It's like directly from the Amazon. It's all this wisdom that the earth has just been absorbing this for millennia and grown into this fruit that we then use and drink in a ceremonial way. It's about, for me, bringing people together into a space where they are forced to be humble to something greater than themselves and forced to put their trust in an external medicine that is able to aid with them to open their heart and go into themselves and have that reflection, a little bit of introspection on what's happening in their internal world, and connecting to ultimately a force greater than themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% felt all of that, man.
Yeah.
My experience, and it's funny you talk about the, it opens up the heart, because I mean that's what I felt. I felt like I was challenged, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was challenged. It's sort of come to me a little bit like ayahuasca as well. Like it comes before even the events there.
For sure.
And so I had a day of just feeling challenged. And then everything you said at the start of the ceremony was just resonating with me, man,
Yeah.
you know, and even how you approached it, like you were sort of like, man, none of us really know what the fuck we're doing. And and straight away, man, I just felt comfortable, and I was just like, fuck, it was like, it was all meant to be.
Yeah,
And I felt that on a lot of different levels, particularly with just letting go, man. Like I felt like it was a place. I think also being new, I was a little bit nervous in terms of like what's this about, you know, naturally just feeling that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was all just about letting go that night, man.
That's
and
it. Surrender.
Yeah.
Beautiful things come in surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So
You want some?
yeah, man. I
brought 3 cups.
Yeah, 3 cups.
And
yeah.
it's actually a ceremonial dose as well.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a pretty heavy dose. I thought just to celebrate for this new venture in this beautiful new space.
Yeah.
So how would you like to take it? I would usually, should we set a bit of an intention?
I think so, man.
I would love that.
Just to sort of let everyone know what went on this morning, I was knowing that the podcast today with Luke, and I texted him this morning just saying, hey man, you know, being the new studio, how about we have a bit of a celebration with some cacao? And he goes, man, I'm already on it, man. It's coming along.
On it, yeah.
Yeah.
I had exactly the same vision of that. Thought it'd be nice to bring some and just open the space and just bless the space here.
Cool, man. I'll leave it to you, man. And always served hot, yeah.
Actually, originally the Aztecs drank it cold. So they would mix it with maize. Actually, I don't know if many people know this, but so cacao originally was used it was in their ceremonies and their rituals when they were still practicing human sacrifice. It would be used as almost like an intoxicating beverage to the person that was about to be sacrificed. They would consume the cacao before their heart was cut out.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
And I have to laugh because everyone's like, it's such a heart-opening medicine. I was like, well, yeah, it used to be consumed right before your heart was ripped out. There you go, brother.
So whose heart we're going to be ripping out, man?
All of ours,
Yeah.
but metaphorically.
Yeah, true.
So if you just want to pick up your cacao, and what I would usually do is I just get people to close down their eyes. And we just start by taking a few deep breaths. Just dropping into the space, just feeling around the space. Let's just take a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhale out of the mouth. So you just want to feel the warmth of the cacao in your hands. We just want to connect to this medicine, give thanks. Give thanks to all of the wisdom that it holds. The ability to help us to gain clarity, to open our hearts and to connect us to each other and to all of life. We give thanks to the original cultures that brought this medicine through and have shared it with us so that we can continue to commune with the Great Spirit and beautiful medicines just like cacao. And you guys can set your own personal intention. What is it that you want to call into this space? And just sit with your intention. I'd just like to take this opportunity to bless this sacred space. And we ask, Great Spirit, that you protect, that you watch over and you observe all of the comings and goings within this space. Bless this space that will be used for sharing stories, wisdom, sometimes trouble, sometimes pains. May this space be a meeting place of hearts, of great minds, of cultures, so that we can recognize that we are all a part of each other, a part of the whole. And thank you for this amazing technology so that we can share this with the world. So in your own time, just bringing the cacao up. You can take a nice little smell of the medicine, and in your own time, just drink it. You don't have to drink it all at once. We can drink it throughout. Still very hot. It's nice to just allow it to come into the body. Feel it in the heart.
I appreciate that, man.
Man, it's
Everything
my
you
pleasure.
said, man. And what a great way to sort of kick it off.
Absolutely.
Open it up. Wow.
It's an absolute pleasure, brother.
Yeah. So cacao is its plant in itself, yeah?
So the cacao tree produces pods, and inside the pods there's the fruit. And then the fruit is fermented, it's dried, and then that produces raw cacao.
Mm.
And then it's shipped here, and we make it into this beverage. The main active compound in it is theobromine, and that is almost like a similar compound to caffeine, but instead of caffeine giving you that peak and drop, it gives you a really nice sustainable energy, which is why it's been used for a coffee replacement these days. It's come out of ceremony and into everyday practice. And some people might think that that's a little bit not disrespectful, but shouldn't be doing that outside of ceremony. But I honestly feel like if it is spreading the word of cacao and helping people just be able to drop into the heart more often, then why not?
Yeah, for sure. And man, I don't know if it's just slowing down, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Especially after saying the blessing and, yeah, man. Just on that note of what you mentioned, man, and that's why I said thank you, because, I really do want to use this space as a place of bringing people together, sharing different things, different events. The idea is it's all about mental health and healing. But the main thing is sharing light on different areas of, I guess, support networks that are out there.
Yeah.
To shine light on it, to bring more knowledge around it. So it sort of brings the walls down of other people to be able to walk through the door into new areas like this, because, and I sort of noticed it a little bit, particularly with your event I went to the other week. And as I'm looking around the room, predominantly it's females that are going.
Yeah.
And which is great, and and I have this vision, and my intention was, when you just asked what the intention was, that this podcast can perhaps go to those that are thinking about doing this sort of ceremony or this sort of healing, or wanting to try this, and this podcast can get out to them and helping them make the first step in coming and experiencing it firsthand.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Because I see the same thing, and it's a shame. It's sad that there isn't more men there, but in the same breath, as soon as we spread awareness about it, and I think maybe people see cacao sound healing and might be like, oh, that's not really for me, or it might not hold much value for me, but I see it as it's more of a space that is being held where people are coming in. I try to take myself out of it. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm just providing the space for a person to humbly walk into the presence of something greater than themselves and say, I do not know what the fuck I'm doing and I need help.
Yeah, man.
And please guide me. And no one there is going to tell you what to do apart from your own inner tuition and your connection to spirit. And it's in a safe environment that is provided and blessed, and people have really good results.
Your approach on that and the way you open it up, like I mentioned it before, you certainly, I mean, look, man, when I'm walking in there, I've got to be honest, and I'm sure everyone is, it's like, what the fuck am I doing, man? Like, you're completely out of your comfort zone. But I guess that's all, you know, my healing didn't start until I've gone, even in my best days, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
And until you sort of surrender and stop trying to fight the emotions or feelings or whatever you're going through, and just surrender and, you know.
That's it.
And you're right, man. Like I fully felt that the environment that you held was certainly a place where you can do that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. And I you know, like right even from the start, it's a bit of an experience. Even walking through the door, and you've got some. I didn't grab his name, but
Yeah, that's Brock.
Brock, yeah.
Yeah, Brock the Rock.
Yeah, Brock the Rock.
Yeah, he's my boy.
Yeah, yeah, man. He's yeah. So Sage, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on there?
So with sage, that has been used for a long time in different cultures. Sage actually is from North America. That's the word smudge comes from the North American culture.
Yeah.
So we use the smoke from sage to help clear any attachments, any energies that we may be carrying that are just they're not serving us. They're the ones that hang around us. Maybe somebody said something to us and it's just like, it's not in here, but it's on the shoulders. It's usually around the back, around the neck, somewhere hidden.
Yeah.
That we've just been carrying. And it's a beautiful way to just shift that off, because we don't want anybody bringing stuff into the space that's going to start floating around and causing disruptions during ceremony. So we clear that first, and then the cacao helps us to open the heart. And when we're in a space of love, anything that is not in the vibration of love has to come up, come out, and leave. And if it's not willing to, then that's why we have the presence of, I call it the architect. Whatever that is for you, it can be God, it can be the beloved, it can be the divine feminine, divine masculine presence there to help remove whatever it is that needs to be removed.
And is that where because throughout the ceremony, the different instruments, the different sounds, and I'm only assuming here, man, but the way I felt it was that the different instruments or the different sounds, they were all coming at the right time for me, man.
Yeah.
Particularly the drum.
Oh, yeah.
And that was sort of like the real release of
the clearing, yeah.
Yeah. So and is that the idea behind the sound healing, like to get the
Sure. Well, so the way that I was shown frequency and sound from instruments was through medicine work with Aya, with psilocybin. And what I was shown was the frequency that is generated by these instruments are a vehicle. It's almost like a wave. And then there are different healing energies that use this wave to be able to manifest into the physical realm. Otherwise, it's just spirit. The sounds are able to penetrate the human body and the human electrical system, the energetic system, so the spirit is able to work within this realm quite efficiently without wasting too much energy of their own. So the instruments just carry different frequencies, different healing frequencies. I see everything from a spirit lens because that's just my background, I suppose.
And I felt that. Like I said, when it said they were coming at the right time, it was almost like you knew what was sort of moving through me, if that makes sense. And for those that are listening to this, for someone like me and my background, it seems really left field hearing us talk like this, and it still does now, because I'm new on this journey of learning all this stuff myself. And but until you've done it, you really feel it. And it's real. You can't deny it.
Mate, I wouldn't fucking believe it either. Like, if I still don't know. That's why it's hard for me to talk about things that I actually do not know. I just trust it. And when I'm in those spaces, all I'm doing is getting myself out of the way. So as soon as I sit down and take my first sip of cacao, I'm gone. It's not me operating the vessel. It feels like I've allowed the spirit of cacao and another force to be able to move me and play instruments at the right time, in the right place. Because if it was me trying to control that, it would be a shambles, I guarantee it.
And you said that on the night, and that actually, I actually took that home because it was really good what you said as well. Like, we just need to get the fuck out of our own way, and a lot of that's just our own mind. And just on the back of what we're just talking about, do you think that on a spiritual level, we can't connect there as well as what we are designed to do because of the way we've been programmed to perceive things in life? Like right from the beginning, we're not taught about spirit. Depending on where you come from, but especially here in Australia or New Zealand with things like that, to a way of, where am I going with it, man? But you know what I mean? Like, it's like we've been that programmed that we've sort of blocked those 100%. Channels. Yeah.
And it's no accident because we're powerful. We're fucking powerful. When we're in tune with that, and when we can bring together the humanness of just being a human having an experience, but then the divine spark within us that is all-knowing, all-pervading, that's a force. And you can't control a force like that. And that's why I hold ceremonies, is to remind people. And we have this beautiful condition of human amnesia that we just constantly forget, myself included, all the time. So I need to go into these spaces myself to just be reminded. And it's just this constant reminding until, I guess, something shifts permanently. Maybe not.
Death.
Death, exactly. That's why I'm not meditating in a cave, because I want to experience all of this. I love it.
And it's, man, like, I mean, once I got the taste for this, it's an addiction. Because you're just wanting more. It feels good, it feels right, it feels natural. You're just wanting more. And once you've broken down those thoughts of it's, hippie or left field or, weird or whatever it may be, and getting over the fact that it's quite easy to just walk into these places and everyone's on the same page or level and open and there's no judgment. Once you've over that, then you're
halfway there.
Halfway there. Hey, just what's your point on the movement, man? Like, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's just me and being new on this sort of journey, but the more I'm doing cacao or sound healing ceremonies, or ayahuasca, or even 9D breath work, I feel like it's at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff, but it's just on different levels. But it's all just connecting to that, that inner being, or that subconscious type spirit. And but everyone I'm talking to, it's like everyone's just doing their own little part for the bigger picture of healing, man. And for me, I feel it's getting bigger and it's wakening up. It's becoming, it's where it's not so, what's the word? So
like
sort
taboo.
of taboo. Yeah. How do you feel about that, man?
I love it. We're all compiling our own tool belt, and we're just taking on these tools to be able to cope with life as a human being, and to hopefully be able to decondition ourselves to a point of feeling peace, because really that's all it's about. It's, for me, I don't really work on myself of healing constantly. It's just I have these tools that when something comes up, I can stay in my peace, because I want to experience everything that this life has to offer as a human being. I'm not here to be illuminated and completely ascend. I'm just here to be a human being and to hopefully help give people a tool to connect to that spiritual side of themselves, so that they have strength to be able to face things that otherwise might seem like the end of the world when it's not really.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my darkest times, man, like to know what I know now, it just makes the journey a little bit easier, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and again, I've only just started, but like what I've experienced so far, it's been magic, man.
Yeah.
And what would you advise? So someone that's listening to this is thinking, fuck, this is resonating with me. It's something I want to do. Where's a good place to start, you reckon, man?
On a healing journey for themselves?
Yeah, well...
The good place to start, I would say, is, number one, no one knows what you need better than you. So there is something inside of us that will feel a pull towards something or a restriction towards something. And there's a difference between feeling scared of doing something or feeling an aversion to, this is not for me. Number one, don't abandon yourself and listen to that inner guidance of where it's pulling you. And if it feels good, try it out. If you're in a bad place, drink lots of water, sleep well, and exercise. Those are like the three, and just connection. These are like the four things I would just say as a foundation. For me personally, if ever I'm in a dark place, I need to go and work out and lift heavy as I can. I need to drink amazing, like liters and liters of water, eat good food, and be around people that I love and who love me.
Yeah,
that's a good place to start.
A big thing for me, man, is being still. You know, I'm the sort of guy that's 100 miles an hour and more times none in my own head. You know, and when I do something like the studio, I tend to just go full bore with it. You know,
yeah, great.
I don't really think about it. But you know, with connecting to yourself and some of these emotions, like you know, with things like anxiety and depression, you know, they're the two main words that get used in mental health.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that I find is that it's your body or your mind trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
It ain't a bad thing, and I feel like we try to suppress it.
Yeah.
And by suppressing it isn't working, because it's your body or your spirit telling you something that fucks up.
Absolutely.
And you need to address it. And so being alone, but I think this is where ceremonies like what you hold is really good for this.
Yes.
Because and it's a safe place. As soon as you get used to that safe place, and it's a great environment to start a journey of healing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would 100% recommend that. It's just the community itself. And for me, honestly, I mean, I was on antidepressants for 10 years. So I shouldn't have never been on them. I only had anxiety. Doctors like, take these, and I was on them for 10 years. And ended up depressed on them.
Yeah.
The thing that got to me was I didn't have a spiritual bone in my body. I didn't trust life. I didn't know what the future held for me. And as soon as I started tapping into something divine, there was a force, there was a source that had my greatest good at the heart of its intention. And when I started tapping into that, I felt more relaxed about life, because I felt like something had me, even though I didn't have anything around me. There was a force that was like, I got you. And so my anxiety started to drop away. It's for me personally, I just found having a devotion to the universe, whatever it is, to life, to love, just gave me a sense of peace that nothing has ever given me. and my anxiety, I used to have panic attacks all the time, and it just slowly went away because I trusted life. Even when it was shit, I still trusted that it was there for me, not happening to me.
Yeah, I use that a lot. It's always happening for us, man, not to us. I like what you said there, man. Like, I guess trusting. I had this visual of my older self looking down to my child of myself, a 6-year-old boy, and I had this visual of me grabbing his hand, holding him, bringing him up, and just hugging him and saying, "Man, I got you."
Yeah.
And I hold that. It even just makes me a little bit emotional thinking of it, because it was a real breakthrough for me, man, because that's what I needed to know. I've got you. Look what you've been through, man. You're here now. And to trust and love yourself enough to go on that journey, man. It was the start for me, man.
Yeah. Props to you, brother.
Yeah. Well, it's still going, eh?
Of course. Yeah. It's endless, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What else we got to talk about, man? The full moon.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, bro. Because, like, I noticed that. So I've been twice. For those who are listening, I've been twice to Luke's events. Both times have been a full moon sound healing ceremony, man. So I sort of got the gist a little bit of what it is, but I wanted to hear it from yourself, man.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So for me, the full moon is a time of the month where the things that are in the shadows are illuminated. So for me personally, 3 or 4 days before full moon leading up to it, I'm starting to feel things coming up to the surface that I hadn't thought about. And I just find it the perfect time for when these things come up. It's an opportunity to not have them just sit there, to actually let them go, release them, especially if they're not serving us. So having the ceremony on full moon, we're just harnessing the power of the full moon, of having these things illuminated to us. And there's something energetically about the full moon that is very high vibrational. It just adds to the whole set and setting of the ceremony itself. People are always feeling things around full moon. For me personally, I tend to not sleep for the 3 days around full moon. So there's a heightened kind of antsiness about the full moon. And it's perfect setting for people to walk into ceremony because they're already disturbed in some way. So that they're even more likely to be able to let go and be in that state of surrender. It's all these little steps that are encouraging and nudging us to surrender. And that's all this is about, really.
That's so interesting, man, because that's exactly what went on with me. And I had no idea what it was all about, man. But I was, like I said, I was challenged the last time I went there. Like, I was challenged with my own thoughts and my feelings. And it was a lot about, I just didn't notice how much my walls are up, how I don't let love in or trust or letting go. And I feel like I'm doing it, but there was just more. It was like, no, man, there's way more. You you haven't even started to surrender yet. You might think you have, and I was getting challenged with a lot of things in my own life, and then sort of and then towards the end of the ceremony, it was sort of like showing me that on how by breaking those walls down, on how then it encourages flow, man. And then it started just showing me, I just had these visuals of like, these are the things you're going to be doing. The more you can sort of just let go and relax and, love, man, and be loved. It's not so much love, it was like be loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the hard one, right?
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
I'm used to just freezing up and,
yeah,
you find it easy to love, but
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's just finding these little moments of being able to share that with each other. Yeah. Like you said about you hugging your younger self. It's like any time me as a 36-year-old has a man and comes over and like gives me a hug and it's just like, you're all good. Something inside me is just like, like I needed that. Like I don't get that very often, but when I do have it, I'm like, oh man, like a man hugging a man and being like, I got you. something else.
Yeah, I noticed that, man. Like, because I feel the way I've been brought up. A hug's a shake a hand, or if you hug, it's a quick sort of hug. But when you embrace it, man, you're right. It does, and to be loved, to feel it.
Yeah.
And I done a men's breathwork event, and it's all dealing like with trauma. And I've actually podcasted him, Alan Ward. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, Alan. Yeah. He's a legend. Yeah.
Yeah, he is, man.
Yeah.
And we've even got Wah with the men coming over next month.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like the work all those boys do, you know, and confronting and to break down those barriers, you know, like it starts off where we're staring at each other and looking at each other, and it's that man, you feel completely out of, because I mean, normally a man to man, you feel confrontated, you know, and where this is, you learn by letting go of that fear or that normal feeling. By if you actually stand there long enough, you can actually start feeling his emotion, and then you start feeling love and connecting in that way.
Powerful.
Yeah,
isn't it? We just become mirrors for each other, because then all we're feeling is our own stuff in the other.
Yeah,
and it's just powerful. It's like we're the same.
Yeah. So how do you get someone, man? Like I think about this all the time, because I'm just like, just get the fuck in there and do the work, man. Like come to these events, come and try it, man. Like stop, you know, break down those walls and get in there, you know. But like sometimes, and just going back to what I said before early in, you know, the podcast, of like the majority are women.
Yeah.
And they find it a lot easier than us males to do that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I've just got this real passion and drive to. I've done it, and I'm just like, man, the fruit I get from it, man, it's
it's beautiful. I feel like there seems to be a bit of a resistance. There is a lot of men that feel like if we step into a space where we're vulnerable, where we're showing our emotions, that it's not going to be accepted. For me personally, I'm going to speak for me. I was scared that if I was to show my vulnerability, my emotions, my softer side as a man, my woman would leave. And life taught me that over and over, until I started meeting the right people that were also doing the work inside them. And then there's this huge paradigm shift that happens where I no longer need to feel like I have to be this masculine man that's got it shit sorted together 100% of the time, and if I don't, I lose it all. Like I can be all of it. And you hear people talking about the rise of the feminine. I feel like the rise of the feminine is in the collective. It's in men as well. It's like us learning how to be in touch with our feminine essence, because we've all got it, and be comfortable with it, so that we don't reject it, so that we're not rejecting our women at the same time. Because whatever we're doing inside, we're doing it on the outside. So for me, it's been a process of bringing that into inner union, where I'm feeling like I have access to all parts of myself on tap like that. I'm balanced. And then when I need to be holding my masculine polarity, I'm holding it. And when I need to be vulnerable and I want to cry in front of my partner, I can do it, and I can safely do it as well.
Yeah. And how, yeah, man, like as you're talking, then I'm feeling it. Like I've gone, I've taken a step backwards on, backwards in terms of like I've just put a hold on like dating or meeting girls, and just getting all that out of my head, because I just knew there was some real healing to do and finding myself, and I'm just being honest about it as well. And everything you're talking about is so right, you know, like we put so much pressure on ourselves, and until we come to terms with it's okay, man, it's okay. And then when you do that healing yourself, because we've got so much pressure on us, especially like I'm a father as well, you know, the expectations of being a father, you know, to what money you've got in the bank and your status of job and you know, how much you're lifting, or there's all these sort of pressures we put on ourselves, and just to come, and I think it goes back to what I was saying before, you know, until you actually just love yourself and for who you are, And then it's really important to then start thinking that you only want your partner or those people that you, or even your friends and your family for that matter.
Yeah.
They got to have that same sort of outlook for, you know, and I've noticed that the more you're healing and going through that, you're attracting all those people, man.
100%.
And those, you know, girls, if it's a girlfriend or whatever it may be, you know, and so, yeah.
Yeah, we're all on the journey, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a state of refinement, constant refinement.
Yeah.
And evolution and change.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, I feel like we have to live by a divine law, because it's the only law that actually counts. And when you look at the universe at large, the one thing it is never doing is staying the same. It's constantly changing, constantly evolving. What makes us think that we can stay the same? We have to evolve with it. And for me personally, like, coming from a spiritual lens as well, our soul is not man or woman. It's an androgynous being that is all of it. And as we are being more in touch with our soul, that comes to the forefront, the biological impulses that we're so used to for millennia moving backwards, we feel like it's hard for us to let go of that because it's scary. Like, we don't want to let go of this polarity, because if you let go of polarity, the shit doesn't work. But what if it does? Like, that's just, what if it does? There's this whole movement of that I see online, which I'm not really involved with, of like, just men would do anything in their power to just be a man. And same with women. And what happens if we allow it all to just be a melting pot inside of us and dance together as a masculine and feminine that have this inner union? I'm interested to know what that looks like, because that's when the soul comes to the forefront. And our biological senses don't matter as much. Maybe there's no need for a physical body at some point, you know? The carbon body falls away and we're just energetic beings, like all the masters speak about.
Well, I guess that's where, you know, what is the end to it all? I mean, we're always evolving, always learning. And then, like what we said earlier on, is it death, or do we keep? Does it keep going? I don't know.
We'll find out.
I've just finished reading a book called "Living a Life of Surrender" by Michael Singer.
Oh yeah.
That there really opened my eyes up to, like, letting go and detachment. You know, he sort of talks about how things and experiences should just come and go and have no attachment to them. And, you know, if we're talking about relationships, you know, because it feels good, we'll hold on to it, you know, we try to attach to it. And like, rather than just let it all be an experiment, man. Like, if it's going to last for a short term, or if it's going to last long term, just let it be, man, you know. And if it's not attaching to something, it's suppressing something, is what we do. And then obviously suppressing things, like what we were saying before with depression and anxiety, you know, it's sort of like we suppress it rather than just let that come and go as well.
Absolutely.
And but man, I mean, I guess if you had to put that book in front of me 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been, I wouldn't have really understood it as well as what I have now. But I read the whole thing, listened to it on Audible, but you know, within a week, it was wicked, man.
And it lands.
Yeah,
Definitely. Man, I was the same. I've read every manosphere book going. All of them. I grew up without a father. I had to discover what it was. What does it mean to be a man? Had to discover that for myself, and I've never been one to listen to anybody else anyway. I'm somebody who just carves my own path and makes my own rules and just figures it out. In human design, I'm a 4-6, so it's an opportunist role model. And the 6th line just goes through life collecting all of these experiences and integrating its own truth. And then it just emanates that truth, and those who are attracted to that truth will be in that person's life, and those who aren't, they're on their own path.
And knowledge is king, isn't it, really?
100%.
You know, I say it quite a lot, is you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to know is by giving it a go or learning it.
That's it. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got, man? I mean, was it Danielle that was there at your event the other day?
Dom.
Dom, was it?
Dom, yeah.
Dom, okay.
Yeah, Dominique.
Right. And she sort of done a guided meditation.
Yeah.
I like guided meditations.
Yeah,
Man.
me too. It was a blessing having her there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to be at the next one as well.
Okay, so is that going to be like a normal part of the...
It will just be every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, she asked if she could do it, and I was like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it went really well, because usually at that part of the night, I'm very much in my head at that part of the night. Like, this is the whole getting everybody in, getting everyone arranged. It gave me 20 minutes to just be like, just sit and take in everything that she was saying and just drop in myself.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do to keep yourself in check, man? Like, what do you have, like, daily practices? Like, what?
My non-negotiable is I got to be up by 5 a.m. and get my ass to the gym every morning.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like that. If I do not do that, it affects me and I feel it.
Yeah.
And I'm on a very strict kind of, I guess, workout plan, which I'm pushing myself constantly.
Yeah.
I've only been doing it for, yeah. So I just, weightlifting, I've only been doing it for a year, but I don't know what I've done without it, honestly. I would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
Like, literally anybody. Just go and lift heavy shit.
Yeah, right.
It just does something.
Yeah.
I mean, I practiced yoga for years, and this is next level.
This is your thing.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's pretty cool you talk about the morning, man. Like, I noticed in my darkest times, you know, getting out of bed in the morning, it's the last thing you feel like doing.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And I've actually got a good friend at the moment that's going for a bit of tough, and I've caught up from the other day, and it was one thing that we spoke about, and he's quite successful in what he does in terms of business and things like that, and across the board he's a top bloke as well. But
nice.
We spoke about you know, he's struggling to get out of bed in the mornings.
Yeah.
And it's funny how that is the main sign of, like, you're feeling depressed or down and you can't get out of bed. But yeah, my advice, because when I've been there, if you can just get the fuck out of bed and start something, man, it's a big help, you know. And I noticed it even like last week, I've had like a lot of stress, and, you know, just normal life stresses, but they're all sort of coming at once.
Yeah.
And I just started feeling like really down, and I felt that morning getting out of bed is hard, and then as soon as you switch and go, that's what it is, and just get to the gym, or, you know, get up and do a meditation. Well, sometimes I just even flick on the computer and start doing emails with a cup of tea or something, man. You know, just getting out of bed.
100%. Just keep it simple.
But lifting weights.
Yeah, lifting weights and making my bed.
Man.
Making my bed and lifting weights. So if I do those two things in the morning, the rest of my day is sorted. Yeah. I drink lots of high quality water. I drink cacao. I drink cacao most days.
Yep.
I'm very blessed to have a very good quality source of cacao. And it just keeps me, I suffer with social anxiety, but for some reason when I drink cacao, that kind of heart opening just gives me enough to be able to talk to strangers. And
What is that, man? What is that, like, that social, you know, anxiety, man? Like, I think everyone's, well, I don't know, man. I as much as it probably doesn't seem like it, because we're doing podcasting and even what you do, man, people would go, that's crazy. You feel that, man.
We're good at covering it up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. What is it? Fear of judgment. And I just feel like the world is chaotic. We're bombarded from every direction with stimulation. So to have to add on to it an interaction with somebody else who's being bombarded with stimulation that maybe has, I'm very sensitive. So if I'm around somebody that has anything going on for them, like I just feel it. So most of my anxiety comes from picking up energy from the external world. I'd much rather just be sat in a room like this with two other people than be at a party. Do
you feel like you have to sort of like, you have to have to like perform as well in a way, like you got to say the right stuff. Or I mean, with me, I struggled with like growing up with schooling and talking, and I've always had no confidence with talking and like my vocabulary, is it?
Yeah.
So like I used to get social anxiety around about talking to people, and the way I spoke, and you know, so and it wasn't until and I still do now, but it's more just reminding myself, man, I'm okay.
Yeah,
you're okay.
We're all good.
Yeah,
Just,
we're okay.
Just be ourselves. That's it. We're enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suffer from that big time.
Yeah.
I do. Like, that's why the first 20 minutes of ceremony when I have to talk to people is it's a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to people, and then as soon as I just like take that breath and drop out, I'm all good. It's like something switches and I just know exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. And then it ends and it goes. Yeah. And then back to being me.
Yeah, and it's crazy how you fall into the line of work that you're doing too, man.
Yeah.
Like, because it's completely different to having that anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's obviously taken a lot of courage to do it.
Yeah.
What was I going to say, man? But it's I also feel that even with the podcast, something that helps me break the nerves of doing things like this is that we are just a vessel, man.
Yeah.
And I want to be used as a vessel to get these messages out to people to help and support, and that makes things a little bit easier for me.
Yeah, me too. That's it. That's all. I just keep telling myself that. And I also love that we have anxiety, because people are going to see that. And they're just going to see that we're normal people that have very human shit happening to us. And then it's okay for them to have that shit happening to them too, and still come and try something that they wouldn't usually try. Yeah. Because there's no way that I thought I'd be sitting in front of 100 people singing. Just nah. Yeah. Like, even the thought of it now gives me anxiety. Like, the thought of it now, I can't even sing in front of like 2 people.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's...
So how did it all come about then? Obviously, you're naturally talented with, you know, the guitar and singing, and
it's in my blood.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's in my blood. On my father's side, he's Hawaiian. He was a singer, songwriter. So same as his mother, her father. It just goes down the bloodline of musicians.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And did you know this right from an early age, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I knew it from an early age. Obviously, with my father leaving when I was 3, I didn't really have chance to kind of pick up anything from him. Like, he played guitar and whatever, but I just naturally found a guitar, picked it up, and my mum was really supportive of me. I always started singing and playing in bands when I was really young, and played in metal bands. I played drums in a metal band, and just went all down the hardcore kind of like genre, the wave. I was pretty successful in those bands. And then I just got caught up. Alcohol, drugs, medication, pornography, sex, like all of that stuff until I was 28. And if I didn't change something, I would have been dead.
Yeah, right.
I just had a big wake-up call.
Did something in particular happen, man? Or was it just more constant?
DMT happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah, true.
DMT happened and it kicked my ass.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it kicked my ass. Yeah. It was like something came over and just went pop, and just this bubble burst that I was fucking living in my entire life. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, there is something more to this. And that was like the first moment of this journey that I was like, I have to know what that was. And I just kept going, kept sitting, kept praying, kept communing with my ancestors, with my spirits, and learning, and just learning. And here I am trying to deliver their medicine through something that's accessible for the entire planet.
Awesome, bro.
And that's what I'm here to do.
28 years old, man. That's a good time to do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
You're pretty blessed, man, for it to happen at that age.
Yeah. 100%. I am a very, very different man. The person sitting here right now is very different to
Yeah.
that person. Yeah.
How, man, this is a good question.
Sure.
Because I struggle with it too, man. Letting go or trusting your old self and trusting into this new self that you are.
Yeah.
For me, I've done a lot of destructive shit. I've had a crazy life as well. Fucking highs and lows.
Yep.
Most things I've done. And there's a lot of stuff that I hold guilt for as well.
Yep.
You know. Now being on this new journey, and not to say that, you know, I've completely changed into a new man, but I've certainly got a different outlook on things.
Yeah.
And to sort of come to terms with that, that's the old me. And even though it wants to keep popping in, well, that ego, I guess,
Yeah.
is another way of saying it, you know, and it's like that ego, that voice keeps popping in, like, I'm here, well, are you this new person? And it's just battling with it, man, like, and to actually trying to let go and accept that the past is the past, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a spiral. It keeps coming back around. It keeps coming back around. It revisits us constantly. And sometimes we might indulge in it. Sometimes we don't. And for me, it's just like one day I was like, it doesn't have any grip over me anymore. There is no desire. And things that used to really fuck me off, they just don't touch me. And that's how I know that I'm actually making progress.
Yeah.
And honestly, those things that do keep coming back, and even if they are indulged in, it's like it's because it's just something still there for us. There's still a gift in it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. Like, everything is a gift.
Yeah.
And everything, there is always a doorway out to a new way of being. We're never trapped in anything. We're never imprisoned. And so we get to constantly choose that way out until we move far away enough from it that we can't see it anymore.
Yeah. It's crazy how it does keep coming back to haunt you sometimes, you know. And when you said, you know, like, you think it's gone, but it comes back to challenge you.
Yeah.
To say, there's still a little bit there, you know. Well, I mean, there's 101 different things that it can be, but
Yeah.
Breath work helped me sort of
Yeah.
release a lot of that sort of stuff, and
I feel like it's an indication to let us know how far away from our inner truth we are. If it's coming back and there's still this pull, it's just letting us know that there's some disconnection here. Like, we're still believing in something that isn't true. And for us to seek what that might be, and for the root of that to be illuminated rather than, and it's just an opportunity for healing. Honestly, it's like, that's the way I see it, is that when these things come back to us, it's giving us an opportunity to heal it even more and even more. Yeah.
Is it like but it's like comfort zone, you know. People, we're always creatures of going back to our comfort zone, and when you've known a particular way of living your life, if it's good or bad, although it's your comfort zone, it's not exactly comfortable being where you are, you know. And even just with drugs, you know, or it's, you know, it's always there, and you think, fuck, you know, would you go back to it or would you not? And you still have those thoughts. Yeah. And I also think that, like, it is just letting go to it. It is what it is. But the knowledge of it and accepting the fact that you've learnt and you can be this new way of thinking, or this new person, or these new things, you know. But it's a challenge, man.
It's 100% a challenge. I would rather do something and be like, probably shouldn't have done that. Like, I know better than that, than to be in a place where I just do it and not think anything of it. You know, it's completely unconscious. It's like, that's fine. Like, I'd rather have something inside me that's pushing for better than to just be fine with where I am. Because I feel like we're still moving forwards, and as long as we're moving forwards, we're in a good position.
And we're always going to sin, man.
That's it.
We're always going to fuck up. I encourage my boy to make mistakes. It's a, you know, and I always say to him, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. It means you're trying. It means you're exploring.
Absolutely.
And you got to make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. As long as you get up
Yeah.
brush yourself off, learn from it,
Yeah.
and then move forward.
100%.
The biggest mistake you can do is just lay there on the ground, fucking weeping in it.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. And just to know that there's a responsibility that comes with every choice.
Yeah.
And a consequence. And sometimes the consequence doesn't affect anybody else. It's just us and our own integrity